Namibian President Nangolo Mbumba has amended the initial proclamation of the Namibian Presidential and National Assembly elections to enable an extension of voting day till today. Let's speak to Dr. Marius Kudumo, who's a public policy analyst in Namibia, about this. Dr. Kudumo, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Is this an unusual exercise of the proclamation and it's being extended? The extension of elections usually bring about worries of a process of vote rigging and the integrity and sanctity of ballots being contaminated. What has been the thinking behind the extension of the proclamation as a legal instrument here?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. The thinking was to give opportunity to those voters that could not vote during the first day to vote. But as you have indicated, there have been issues that were raised. Basically, this extension is only in certain areas, in certain regions. It's not all over the country. And the debates have been that there were also people in some of the regions who could not vote, and therefore what is special about these regions and not the other regions. Basically, it's just bringing the whole exercise into raising more questions because of the way in which the Electoral Commission of Namibia have handled this election, which we have not seen before. The chaotic situation in terms of what happened, we have never seen it before in the Namibian election processes.
Does it have the potential to distort what ultimately becomes the result, especially when you look at certain political parties performing well only in specific regions, like the Landless People movement, for instance, doing well in areas where there are predominantly Damara voters, for instance? Is that likely to be a consideration in the integrity of the ultimate result?
I don't think so. The issue is just the rationale for extending what we have seen during the voting have not been adequately and convincingly explained. The major issue was the lack of adequate ballot papers at certain polling stations, as well as some equipment that were not functioning. And as a result, the fact that there were too many people in the queues, very slow, and actually not everyone have voted. These are the key issues. In other words, it would appear as if the Electoral Commission of Namibia has not adequately prepared in conducting a democratic, free, fair, transparent, and credible election. Also, it would appear there were no mitigating strategies in addressing those issues that have arisen. For example, the issue of few ballot papers at certain stations, and it took hours for them to bring the ballot papers that were required. And the extension is actually creating more confusion because it was not adequately explained in the first place. How did we find ourselves in the situation in which we found ourselves? So in terms of certain political parties receiving many of their votes in certain areas, that we have expected, because these are the strong points, and many of the political parties in Namibia are actually community-based, or their sensitivity, they get their support from certain communities. So that is not the major issue. The major issue is the inefficiencies and ineffectiveness in the manner in which the Electoral Commission has handled the election.
Yeah. Do you expect to see heads rolling after this elections, especially when the Electoral Commission, given how this has played out?
I don't think so, but in a capable states, in a state that is based on merit, heads are supposed to roll. Actually, if they don't resign, if the commissioners do not resign, if the senior staff of the commission do not resign, heads are supposed to roll. And the reason why I'm arguing that I don't think so is the way how the commission have come out. They have not adequately explained what happened. There's a lot of anger of people spending 11, 12 hours in the queues to vote, and there's no reasonable explanation why this is the case. So there's no remorse. There's no adequate explanation from the commission. Therefore, I think from their side, maybe they think they are doing a good job, but if it has a state that is based on merit, then they should have resigned themselves or they should have been fired. Because my worry is the voter turnout was high, especially first-time voters, young people, and the experience that they have of participating in a democratic process is a negative experience instead of a positive, enjoying experience. Therefore, heads are supposed to roll, but I don't think they will roll.
Yeah. Dr. Marius Kudumo, thank you so much for your time and your insights. I really do appreciate it. Dr. Marius Kudumo is a public policy analyst.